On this episode, we're talking white space and watches. Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 15 of the vlog.
I feel so weird being the guest. This is so creepy. Like, what do I do with my hands?
Hey everybody, super excited to be bringing you episode 15 from a very special place with some very special people. I have Christian Zerone from Theo and Harris and Anna Griffith from Theo and Harris as well. These are not only two folks that have helped me along the way as I have been developing Thoughtium, the practice, but we've also just had a lot of fun connecting, staying connected as entrepreneurs. I've had the opportunity to spend about a day and a half with the entire Theo and Harris family, shoot some content, and now they are on my side of the lens.
And it feels all kinds of weird.
Yes. So welcome both of you. Thank you so much for really the time over the last couple of days. They've kind of lifted the curtain a bit in terms of their creative process, how they are building a business and leveraging original content to do that. I've just learned a ton, and I think we all have from each other. So let's get into it. Christian, why don't you tell us a little bit about Theo and Harris?
Yeah, so it was 2.5 years ago, almost 3 years ago. It'll be 3 years in February. We started an online watch shop. It was just a shop, just a retail space. There was no actual content being produced. And then we kept asking ourselves the question, okay, how do you sell more watches? And in this landscape of commerce, the only way to do it, as we saw, was content. On Instagram, on YouTube, on Snapchat, even for a couple of months, and all over. So that's what we've become. We've become a pretty strong force in this community, and Anna is our editor and my right-hand woman, and it's couldn't be happier.
Absolutely. So that's a little bit on T&H, the company. I want to talk a little bit about Theo and Harris, the ethos, if you will, because largely what you do is, you're obviously dealing in rare watches, so it's a good that you guys are selling and promoting, but at the end of the day, you're really selling an experience, right? And I think that's where our overlap exists, is that all of us are really excited about delivering value by way of the experience. So tell us a little bit about the experience of buying a watch, or the experience of really interfacing with you guys as a company.
Right. Well, there are a couple of givens. When you're dealing in any sort of good, right? The given is that the product itself, is as it is being sold. If you can just accept that and move forward, and that makes you a good company, and you're not deceiving anybody. So that was number one. That was the first non-negotiable. And many of our competitors also are in the same fashion. We're not dealing with people and not competing against people who are necessarily dishonest or evil, but the communication, or their level of communication in showing what made them so good was so lacking. So we decided, okay, let's get in front of the camera, let's be on Instagram, and let's make an experience around this whole company. Let's talk about, in this example, watches, and not just, how pretty they are, but really what they can mean to people and how interesting they can be in retrospect. When you look back on this thing on your wrist in 30, 40 years with your son or your daughter, you want to look at it and not just smile because it's nice and expensive, but because of all of the memories from day one that are associated with it. And that was basically Theo and Harris.
That's great. Yeah. That's awesome. Now, Anna, you are very much the brains behind the kind of cadence of communication that you have out to what is now a very significant following behind T&H, the brand. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your part of developing and crafting the experience, because it's very visible in a lot of the content that you put together.
So even from the beginning, it was Christian and I had to decide the kind of product that we wanted to be consistently delivering and the quality of it. So I think the fundamental things that we knew we had to be doing was be transparent and be open and sort of approach the topic in a different way, which Christian kind of mentioned already. And that was kind of this feeling of sentimentality and connection and honesty that a lot of other thought leaders in the industry weren't doing the way that we wanted to be doing. So it was just a lot of collaboration for both of us. Him, kind of deciding more of how do we tell this story? How do I speak about watches in a way that is different and really open and more opinionated than people are used to?
Yes, yep.
And then for me, it was more of how do we combine, the actual technical footage and the interesting imagery, and then pair it with audio in a way that is all of that same ethos.
I remember, being young and around Christmas time or birthday, whenever it was, and if my dad wanted to go buy a piece of jewelry for somebody, you went to one person, right? And it wasn't somewhere close, and it wasn't the cheapest option. It was the person that you trusted, because that was someone that you, for whatever reason, was ingrained and kind of synonymous with buying something for a loved one. That's it. You drove all the way into Manhattan, even though we lived in Jersey, and it was a 45-minute drive, because that's the person you trusted. That's it. Matter of trust. So I said, okay, how can I build that? How can we build that same relationship, and really more so on the internet? We do a ton of personal interaction with our clients in New York or wherever the heck we might meet them, sometimes even when we're traveling. But communicating that same thing via like these social mediums, through emails, through phone calls, through packaging, every bit of it, if you're really paying attention, if you really give a shit, to be frank, it's not as hard as you might think. Keeping up with it is, but conceptually understanding how to make someone feel like they're your buddy, because they are, isn't that hard? And we love it.
All right, so finally I want to talk a little bit about the business, because I think the T&H and as I'm just getting started building a brand in Thoughtium, I think we're cut from the same cloth, right?
No question.
We've been influenced by some of the same people and some of the same reading. What excites you most about kind of the new age of developing business? And potentially finding the white space and finding kind of new avenues of reaching people.
I think what's the most exciting about this new age of business, at least from my, very much so my experience, which is, it's very, very small, is the truthfully, like a 14-year-old, could be this massively successful online retail, or maybe not so much consultant, but independent online retail company or anything, or content creator. I mean, that is just unbelievable. If you go back not that long ago, you didn't really have an at-bat until you were in your 20s. We had an at-bat at 18, 19. I started Teenage when I was 19, together. You were 18, right? And in your first at-bat, you strike out for the next 3 years, you're okay. Like, it's fine. We happened to build a good company, so we didn't strike out the first at bat. Maybe the next at bat will strike out. We don't know. Right. But that's an amazing. I am so grateful for that. And of course, other individual things, people around me, people around us, super valuable and super indebted to them. But just that idea that a 19-year-old kid, could do, serious retail online is so amazing.
So I love that response, especially the kind of wealth of opportunity that exists, right? And you can do it. You can try, without investing a ton. You can fail and still be okay.
What does a Wix account cost?
Absolutely,
really,
absolutely. And I think so. One of the, we had Sunday sauce with your family last night, and one of the things that, yet another thing I think we're connected by is, I have a good friendship with your dad. He and I are maybe a little bit more cut from the same cloth in that, we're about the same age demographic. Like, we've been in the game for quite some time. What excites me, and I know what excites him as well too, is hanging out with guys like yourself, people like yourself, and being influenced by new ways of thinking, and then taking that and applying it in a more mature industry.
Totally.
And that's really what Thoughtium is all about, is really building value around thinking a bit differently about what either has been working or what potentially needs to be improved. And so I just personally want to thank you guys for the influence that you have had on me, and for continuing to challenge me, and for continuing to reach out a hand and be willing to help, much like you are today.
And so much back. Back here. I remember the first time Anthony called me on the phone. It was like, I don't know, a year ago. I think I was 21, and I have this professional, like a 38-year-old guy, 37-year-old guy. How old are you?
36?
36-year-old guy, calling me up and saying, so tell me about your business. I was like, wait, what? Like, we have a website that sells watches. Like, it's real simple, And he's like, no, I want to understand. Which is so, he thinks it was helping him. Meanwhile, on our end, it was so validating to have someone call up and say, no, like, maybe you don't even understand what you're doing right all the time, but you're doing a lot of things right. And of course, there are things wrong as well. So many things wrong. But geez, like, think about this. And that Anthony was one of the first catalysts at the company, basically very early, that was like, hey, think about what you're doing. Like, seriously, be more cognitive here, because you're onto something, and identify those real strengths and seriously double down, because you're not just a 20-year-old girl and a 21-year-old guy. You've got a real opportunity here. So that's us to
Absolutely.
thank you,
Yeah.
because
Absolutely.
major props.
Thank you so much. And again, thank you guys for being on the show. Where can people find you? Because you definitely want to find both of these guys and T&H.
Yeah.
It is a great YouTube channel to follow, and it's a tremendous brand to follow as it grows and grows. So
very much.
where can we
Shout
find
yourself
you?
out.
Thank you. I'm on Instagram at Anna Griffin C.
Yeah, and we are on Instagram as Theo and Harris, as well as on YouTube. We do 6 videos a week, Monday through Saturday, all about watches and family and drinking and fun, enjoying the passage of time, is something that we have to say sometimes. That's it. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Thank you so much.
having us.
Awesome.
That was great, guys.
Yay.
Beautiful.
Cool. What an episode. That's going to be great.
Boom watch.
And the Hermes Apple Watch.
I missed the boom watch thing.
Everyone says
know,
that.
everyone- I miss
We
it
gotta
too.
bring that
We
back.
should do-
Everyone says they miss the boom watch.
We rolling?
We're rolling.
On Nippus.
Like that.